It didn't begin with bombs, but with whispers beneath foreign skies. For nearly a century, Vietnam lived beneath another nation's rule. They worked for empire's profit, their sweat feeding faraway masters. In small rooms, dangerous ideas of freedom began to grow. He saw how empires ruled and how they could fall apart. He vowed Vietnam would never bow again to any flag. They moved unseen, fighting shadows with courage and patience. Freedom was a dream paid in smoke, hunger, and silence. Steel and arrogance met a land that refused to surrender. Strategy was forged not from strength, but relentless will. They pulled iron through jungles, inch by inch toward destiny. The French built their trap, blind to the one closing around them. Each shell carried a nation's breath, fragile yet defiant. For 50 days, thunder answered empire until silence returned. The empire's pride drowned in a valley it thought secure. Victory came heavy, soaked in grief as deep as the earth. Peace was drawn in ink, not trust, across divided paper lines. A pen stroke split families, beliefs, and the promise of unity. Hope became geography, and love obeyed political borders. The empire sailed away, leaving ghosts it could not name. For a brief breath, freedom tasted like smoke and morning rain. From ruin, they shaped a nation with calloused hands and faith. He warned the struggle was not over, it was merely changing shape. Below the line, a new government rose, fragile and ambitious. The water looked peaceful, but beneath it waited another storm. In the south, a new republic rose from promises of faith and order. A man of devotion and control, chosen to lead against communism. Washington saw him as hope, a bulwark against the red tide. Progress glittered on the surface, but cracks widened underneath. Freedom meant little to those still ruled by fear and hunger. Faith became the last refuge for those left unheard. Their chants echoed louder than guns, calling for dignity and peace. In one still moment, the world saw faith burn brighter than fire. A single act of pain shattered the illusion of harmony. The streets turned from worship to resistance in the heat of June. He saw enemies everywhere, even among those who once believed. Each plan drawn in fear pulled America deeper into the storm. To defend peace, they built prisons and called them protection. Faith marched beside the gun, unable to see where it led. The camera replaced the eye, distance replaced understanding. Help became presence, and presence became control. He sought guidance from heaven, but heard only the echoes of men. The coup began with whispers and ended with thunder. Power crumbled not from invasion, but from within its own walls. He prayed once more before history turned away from him. The leader was gone, but the chaos he birthed remained. The city stood restless, unsure whom it now belonged to. Even faith, scarred and silent, began again among ashes. They had lost their ally, yet gained a deeper entanglement. And in the north, patient eyes watched the south begin to crumble. From the forests, whispers of rebellion began to find their voice. Ordinary hands carried weapons and dreams of one Vietnam. 1,000 paths became a single artery feeding the revolution. They walked by moonlight, guided by memory and hope. Their plan was patience to win not in years, but generations. Advisors arrived first, teachers of war who would soon become its students. The enemy had no flag, only footsteps and resolve. Every face looked guilty, every silence sounded like defiance. They built a nation underground, where even bombs could not reach. He knew victory would not come from guns alone, but from endurance. The revolution moved not on tanks, but on the will of the poor. To America, the war was numbers, body counts, and coordinates. Advisors became soldiers, soldiers became symbols of empire reborn. He had come to fight communism, but found only confusion and heat. Two worlds met in fear, each calling the other the enemy. The first real battles began, small sparks of a wider inferno. Every victory was temporary, every loss a lesson in patience. They promised quick triumphs against an invisible foe. Messages crackled through static orders, warnings, and ghosts. From above came thunder, from below, defiance whispered back. He wondered how far liberty truly reached from his mother's porch. The forest itself became a weapon, hiding death in every leaf. From the sky, mercy and fire fell from the same hand. The war no longer had sides, only survivors and graves. Somewhere in the silence, the jungle prepared for the storm ahead. From distant shores, America sailed toward a war it could not name. They came young, believing they were saving freedom itself. The jungle swallowed men, machines, and the reasons they fought. Every hill was taken, lost, and taken again before nightfall. The night turned alive, stitched by fire and fear. They called it victory, though the fire spared no one. Innocents scattered, smoke carrying names no one could pronounce. Mercy became a battlefield act, fleeting and fragile. The war turned into numbers counted in lies, not lives. Truth leaked through film grain, and the world finally watched. From 20,000 feet, sorrow looked small and distant. Beneath the earth, a patient army endured without fear. He promised progress while the horizon whispered otherwise. Tet began with prayers, not knowing what waited in the dark. In one night, illusion burned, and the myth of control collapsed. Ancient walls turned to dust beneath modern fire. Faith survived where armies fell, quiet and unbroken. At home, truth erupted louder than the war itself. From classrooms to cities, a nation turned against its son's return. The last flight from Saigon carried the echo of defeat. April 30th, 1975, the war that never should have been was over. Symbols bled into mud, swallowed by the rain of history. He wonders if he fought for freedom, or just for survival. Nature healed faster than the hearts that carried its scars. From ashes rose a nation scarred but unbroken, whispering its story still.